Oh, my neck is like, just from like turning this.
Oh yeah, that's happened to me before. Feel free to like rotate your... Hey, this is a talk with Adam Johns, who I met in the lineup of a Lewis House meetup. I found myself in Toronto within the year needing to stay overnight for an audition without a change of clothing or laundry, and Adam let me stay at his place just when I needed it. In this interview, I'm wearing his clothing actually, and we ended up talking about, as usual, changing cities, careers, following your path, personal development overload and what that really is, and how the death of a loved one can help clarify decisions in your own life. Enjoy.
I've actually got my dad's
nice.
baseball number tattooed on my arm, number 33. There's a personal development course called The Forum.
Yeah.
And I did it in 2016 in February. My dad passed away in March. Up until that point, I had been resisting my dad passing away. It was something that was kind of like, it was like, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Life comes at you.
Yeah.
There's going to be life events that consistently come at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like life comes at you like now, and another moment now, and another moment now. Do you want to choose this thing, or are you going to resist it, basically? Like I can choose that my dad's dying, or I can try and resist it and choose the resistance and choose like not fully dealing with it, not fully letting it in. And for me, what that did is it allowed for me to actually be grateful for everything that like all of the experience, and see it as happening for me to build me stronger. And the day before he was passing away, he basically, like, I went in to see him. He was asleep in his bed, and I kind of like was regretting not spending as much time with him as I would have liked to. He woke up, and I remember like just be like, it was like not a nice day out. It was like gray out, like piss poor rain, just disgusting out. And I go, Dad, like can I get you anything? Are you okay? And he goes like, no, I'm grateful to be alive. Like every day is a beautiful day. On his grave, there's like a seat. There's like the grave itself, and then there's like a seat. And on the seat it says, like on the front of the seat it says, it's a beautiful day. Like that was his kind of like, he didn't complain throughout the entire thing. Like he was going through chemotherapy at the time, but he had his leg amputated, and he's hopping through the living room before we have guests over, vacuuming. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. You know, that was just my dad. And so it's so hard for me to take it as a negative thing when he throughout the entire thing.
The example. Interesting.
Yeah.
What was that last month like after the forum?
It's just a weird time because I knew kind of that he was going to die. Like it was very likely that it was just going to happen. There's always like that hope, but it was like very like it was just kind of like downhill. It's like expecting someone to die and just wait, like you're like in like this limbo. It's like at a certain point, like it's bad to say, but you almost just want it to happen to get it over.
It's just dragging. Yeah.
You just want to. It's like get it over. Yeah. It was like 500 people.
What?
500 plus people at his funeral.
Who was he?
He was just a really great dude, a really great guy.
500?
Like there was
he like in politics or
no? He was in sales. He was the type of person like when you were talking to him, he was very much over there with you, and that type of a person leaves a large footprint. I think we ran out of seats.
Oh man,
it was like out the door. I remember one moment when, like in his like last month or two, one of the days that he had been back at home, like he was in his bed, kind of. And we just kind of, I came in and we chatted for like 10 minutes, and he just like grabbed me by the head and like put my head on his like shoulder. He was just like, I'm so proud of you. We just like both bawled our eyes out. So grateful to have had him as my dad and still have him as my dad.
Yeah. Thank you. I think about death a lot, like more than people
too.
know. And I'm sure I don't know why I do, because I haven't lost anybody. You know, I've lost like childhood pets, was just like a very many.
It was traumatizing. Okay?
Not traumatizing. I mean, you know, you just remember being a kid and when they were a little puppy, and now they're gone and your childhood's also gone, and you're just like, you're realizing that you don't have forever.
Like you hear people who have had near death experiences, and they always talk about how more heightened their life was after that. Yeah. And I think it's just the most true thing ever. Like death, like people like don't want death to happen. Like they and even people in my family, like my mom, and it's so hard to lose somebody that you've been married to for half of your life. Like she lost him at age 50. They got married at 25. They've been together for literally half of their life. And so it's like, what do I do now? Like it's like shell shock, right? Like it's my dad, but I haven't been like she's been with him longer than I have, you know? It's part of life, and it's something that we try and avoid so much, and we try and have that, and we have that resistance up against, and it's this, I don't know if it comes from fear or what it is, but letting go of that and being able to fully let it in as a part of the experience of life and take the lessons that death is going to teach us. I think that's something it's so raw, and it's it's like a brutal workout. Like I love nothing more than like a brutal workout, because it just puts you through the ringer, and you're like at the point on the ground where you're just like, but it's the most, like afterwards you have this euphoric feeling, And so it's through those moments like where you go to like the absolute depth that you get the absolute height of life, I think. And so like death is like that's the end of it, you know. And we all share. It's one of the only things that we all share in common is that we're gonna die. And I think it's just to pay respect to death and actually fully like let it in that it's going to happen, and look at it each day and be like, I'm going to die. Like, what am I going to do today then?
What was going through your head around the time of wanting to move to Toronto?
I've lived in Ottawa my entire life, but it is a government-run city, and for me, being more entrepreneurial, more like Toronto has a pulse. You feel the pulse when you come into the city. Ottawa doesn't call it to who I am.
What do you think about in terms of jobs?
Yeah, like I think the ultimate goal for me is to own whatever I'm doing. I say I think because I think I'm like, it could be that I don't, that isn't what actually ends up happening. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I do like to have that sense of leadership and ownership around it. I have a tough time just like being somebody who's just taking orders from somebody, just like go do this, go do that. I like to own what it is I'm doing. I think it's important for people actually in general just to own whatever it is they're doing. I think when you get into the mindset of like, I don't own this, that's where you start to not care as much about the result, right? It's literally been a week and a bit since I quit my job, so I'm still kind of just testing it out. Right now I'm doing I've been helping out with a moving company, so I've just been doing moving to make some money in the short term, and then it should be like probably the next month or so that I nail down the next thing.
Did you, and I'm asking this for myself, did you ever feel like, who am I to want to move to Toronto? Like I should just be happy with Ottawa? Did that thought ever cross your mind?
No.
Got it. So my biggest kind of block and a big part of this series right now is professional type and career type questions of getting to that next level. There's something that seems so cliche, especially because I'm interested in acting, and like away and like moving to the big city just seems so cliche. Yeah. But maybe that's just really what I want. And maybe it's things that are cliche for a reason.
You had like anything was an option. Like you were free as can be. Where would you go?
I think LA, which I wasn't expecting until I was there in January. I was like, oh, this is it.
If I were in your position, I don't know what's going on with finance or anything like that, assuming that that's not in the way, I would just be going down there once a quarter. Fine. Yeah. Like just like plan it, like schedule in like every single time, like every quarter.
I have thought of that.
And I'd been traveling once a week back and forth between Ottawa and Toronto, driving like a madman for 10 hours a week. I was in the car, and it was only after 3 months of doing that I was like, I actually just want to move here. Yeah. So, but like it eventually, like I just had strong ties. I built up a network, and so like every opportunity that I have has just come kind of by coincidence of proximity. Get in the area of where you want to be. Like just get there as frequently as possible. And I'm convinced that when you get to where, like when you say I want this and you actually just are like I want this, it'll start to sort itself out.
Are you interested in working in the professional development area, like life coaching people or seminars? Yes, okay.
And then there's I have the same who am I to be a life coach when I'm 23 years old?
Interesting.
I really like to see what's going on in somebody and what's stopping them from having what they want in their life. I'm really passionate about people living life to the absolute max of what's possible, because I think so many people settle for an average life, including myself sometimes. That's something that I would call somebody else on. Like
what is?
Like the who am I to want to be a life coach? Like most people, like I don't know, like they go out like they want this, but all they can see is this, and so they're looking. I can't see this right now, and all they're seeing is this. And being the person that can remove that, so that people can actually have what they really want in life. It's like I've done a little bit of coaching through Landmark, and it's just like it's one of the most fulfilling and rewarding things to be able to be that person for somebody else.
It happened today when I was calling. I was like, oh, I wonder what Adam's up to. And then it's like, well, what's stopping you from what you... I was like, oh, I don't know. Stop. Willing to go to an uncomfortable conversation with people that is it feels uncomfortable in the best way. So it's like a love-hate thing. I was like, oh, I know this is what I need, but
it hurts so good.
Yeah. Have you trained as a life coach, or you just kind of pick these things up?
I've been around Landmark's work for more or less like extensively for the past year. Like there hasn't been many weeks where I'm not like in and around either being coached or coaching someone, and so you start to just kind of see what works and what doesn't work. All of a sudden, like things started to open up, and it was just like, oh, I can see that this is stopping somebody in their life, and so it just starts to be something that my mind goes to. It's like this person wants this, they've just told me they want this, but they've just given me a reason why they can't have it, and so I just pointed, I'm like, you just give me this reason why you can't have what you want, but I know that's what you want, right? And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, so, and then we go into it.
That's something that you're thinking you're gonna continue, or?
I really enjoy coaching.
Cool.
It's funny. It's funny because I know it's something that I'm good at.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm 23 years old, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
A lot of professional hockey coaches have never played, like, or have never played the game at a professional level in their life. But that it's a different skill set to be a coach.
Yeah.
It's understanding the game.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on self-help overload?
So what personal development have you specifically done?
I don't know if I've done. So maybe I haven't even really done enough to know.
Yeah, that's your answer to the question.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
there it is. I guess it's not participatory. So that would be the difference.
That's the big thing. I was a consumer of
Yes.
personal development stuff for a really long time. But the thing is, when you're just consuming it, it's, are you actually on the court in your life?
Yeah.
A lot of the time when you're just like listening to a podcast, it's just in the stands. It's like, oh, that's a really cool thing.
Yes,
Like, that's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. And I catch myself all the time, like, am I really gonna go and like implement this right now? No, okay, turn it off. Because it's like, what, you're wasting your freaking time. That what happened today where you got uncomfortable, it actually has you stay with that discomfort until you have the breakthrough, and then it's like boom, and there's this big opening. For example, with Landmarks work, it goes to work on your ego, or they distinguish it as your act. It's not fun to have your ego attacked by work. So for me, for example, like I resisted through the entire forum. Like the entire forum, like I like resisted.
And what did the resisting look like?
The resisting looked like just like, oh, did I waste my money being here?
Yes,
did I that? And I wasn't actually being with the work. Like I wasn't like on the court. Like there's a part where like you call people in your life, and like I was just like, no, like I'm not gonna do that. That's uncomfortable. And so I wasn't actually on the court in life dealing with what was there. Personal development or self-help or whatever it is. If you're exhausted, I find a lot of times it's because you're a consumer and you're not actually a doer.
Yeah.
And so if you want to like from my personal experience, once I started like being in the programs, like getting coached on specific areas that I'm being stopped in, and actually being like, when I got the coaching, I actually go and take the action.
Yes.
Like today I was like, I really don't want to call like two people for what I won't get into it, but I just really didn't want to make two calls to people. And I was on the call with somebody, and I'm not gonna mention their name, and they were like coaching me, and they're like, okay, well, like why? And I was like, fear, and then she's like, okay, point to fear. Where is fear? I was like, you're right, I can just pick up the phone and call them right now. And I was like, oh crap, I can just pick up the phone and call them right now. And so like there's this whole story around why I can't pick up the phone, and this, that, and the other, and reason. Adam, pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ripping off a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Like resistance is always an opportunity to transform something in your life. Whenever you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, there's something there to transform.
I think for me that looks like, I don't know, part of me feels, it's
like move to LA.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Okay, I don't know.
What's going on there is that...
Well, the practicality of it is like, you legally can't live there. If you're a student, you can't work there.
Do you know what's perfect about this? And I'm gonna... Are you okay if I...
Start coaching me? Therapy?
I'm not gonna go coaching therapy
okay.
or anything like that. And all I'm gonna point to here for anybody watching, immediately I said move to LA, and you go, it's not practical. There's this reason. And you're not... You want to move to LA, but you're listing all the reasons why you can't have it.
Yeah. And the other part is... like it seems so cliche to want to move to LA with...
Do you want to move to LA though? If you like actually look, like you... Like before you said you want it in your heart, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I've even given myself permission to want it yet.
Yeah, you haven't. Like I'm doing it right now with like, I want to be coaching people, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take this like weird detour to get there, you know?
So you feel resistance toward coaching people?
No, I feel resistance towards like going and getting a coaching certification because of what everybody else would tell me about.
What would they say?
You're 23 years old. What have you accomplished? You're not. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so. Today's phone call when we met, I'm like, oh, this guy is like. You were coaching, like that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Something I do, and this is totally calling myself out, is like I don't have Netflix and I don't watch TV, but then I'll go listen to these podcasts and not implement it, and I'm like, oh, it's like pseudo helping. It's like, you know what I mean?
It makes you feel
like you're doing something. Shit. Yes. Damn it.
Earlier today, one of my coaches, I was like, what's in my space right now is I really just don't want to do that. She's like, yeah, I don't care about that. That's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
And so it's...
In your space, meaning in your head?
Yeah, in my space, in my head. And like that's what I'm dealing with or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And so I I was pointing that, and she's like, you do that all the time. You like point to like the reason why you like you can't do this thing right now. Just be with me and we're gonna accomplish this. And I was just like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
But I get this weird payoff from being like, oh, like this isn't my space, because then we get to deal with this before we actually deal with the real shit that we're up to. And she's like, yeah, you like to do that in order to use that in humor. And like your like weird charm thing. By the way, you're not charming. You're shot at me. You're saying like I'm tired is in my space because you just don't want to deal with this thing yet. Just deal with it.
Nice. You need that tough.
Yeah, I love what I love the expression. It hurts so good. Like it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with this, but like it's so time to deal with it.
Is there a book or talk or speech that you wish that you found earlier?
Principles by Ray Dalio is a book that I'm reading right now. The way that he talks about his failures and the lessons that he learned from them, and how like his business almost went straight under, and he would at the point where he had to fire everybody until he was just left with himself, and then he used the lessons that he learned. And if you read up on any hero, they have this massive failure that they go through, like a massive failure that
Or rock bottom.
rock bottom. And the massive heroes, the bigger the hero, the more massive their failure had to be. One of the parts he talks about how heroes, like, they have to go through that. Like, you actually, like, in order to be a hero and to be built into somebody who can handle that next level of that next battle or whatever it is, where you can be at that place of being a hero, you actually have to hit the rock bottom.
Is there a particularly valuable failure or something that didn't work out that later paid off? Like you were talking about that the heroes. Have you had anything like that?
I think I'm in one right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I'm in one right now with my finances. Like
Got it.
I'm $51,000 in debt, and I'm back against the wall without a job right now. And I'm kind of just working part-time, doing some, like, nothing with regards to what I'm going to do with my career. I know when I get on the other side of this, there's going to be a massive payoff, and it's just one of those things that right now I think I'm in one right now. And it's not like school debt; it's like consumer spending, like personal development stuff, like just like stupid, it's not like debt that I can blame on something other than my own.
Got it. What's going on for you right now? Like,
I'm so many different things. I'm like, oh, I could do this, this, and this, and I've been stuck in kind of analysis paralysis. But there's so many different things.
Yes.
And what should I do? And now what I've been able to do is just taking action. So 15.
Cool.
I'm gonna just take action on 15 things a day. Like, so whether it's reaching out to 15 people.
Okay.
Or like,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? The 15.
I just chose 15. I was like, 15 doesn't seem like an overwhelming amount of things.
Just if you have any final message or parting thoughts for whoever's watching.
If there's something that you are scared to take action on right now, and you've known that you want to take action on it, whether it's for a day or for multiple months right now, whether it's an uncomfortable conversation that you know you have to have with somebody, or whatever it is, go and have that conversation, go and make that decision, because the feeling on the other side is absolute freedom.
Spoken like a true life coach. Listen, man, thank you for doing this. I know there's a lot of self-help, personal development stuff out there, but the main question I ask is, how can I or we get the most out of life? Like, life has this in front of us, and you can really seize it, and I think that you're after that, and I'm really, really glad that we met, and I'm glad that you did this. So
awesome, brother. I'm excited to keep on growing our relationship.
Cool. But let's end this with a bro hug. Thanks, man. Therapy. Done.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you. This was a long one. Thanks for watching. If there was a particular moment that stuck out to you the most, leave a comment with the timestamp for that below. I also have a mailing list at dantatebrown.com/contact. I won't bother you that much, but feel free to sign up if you want to keep an eye on what I'm doing. And otherwise, enjoy the next video.
And now you're staying at my place.
And now I'm staying at your place wearing your clothes.
Yeah, it's perfect. He's not wearing my underwear.
Yeah, the underwear, socks are mine. These socks are now going on 36 hours.
Cut that out.
Yeah.